Ash Wednesday. And I had this conversation once with a person in which they came to me and said, "Hey, Pastor, what's your favorite season?" And I thought about it. I said, my favorite season? Lent. And the person was like, "What? Seriously? You're joking, right?" And I was like, "No, I like Lent." Lent is this time set aside each year where we get to step back from the busyness of life, look inside ourselves, and sort of recalibrate who we are. Look back at the past year and say, am I doing what God wants me to do? Is my life about what God wants my life to be about? And then we don't have to take on all the things we come up with. We're just asked to take on one little thing for 40 days. Why? So that we can make one little baby step towards being a little bit more the person God wants each year. Why? Because the early Christians that founded Lent, remember, it's our oldest season, knew that spirituality and wisdom isn't something you get overnight, nor is it easy. But it is something that with hard work and in looking into oneself, one can start to go with, can start to walk towards, because it is a long journey. The person, after I told him this, looked at me, sort of blink, definitely not the answer they were looking for, and said, "Okay, fine, I get it. Spiritual journey and all, but why does it have to be so depressing? I mean, seriously, what other season do you kick off with by reminding everyone, you're all going to die, I'm going to die, everyone you know is going to die, everything you know is going to fall apart eventually, go God." Talk about the most worst way to launch a season. I mean, Christmas gets launched with Christmas. Easter gets launched with Easter. Epiphany, you at least get gifts and a wise man. Or 3 or 7. They never actually say the number. Okay? Which is a good question. Why do we start in this dark, depressing, and, dusty place in preparation for Easter, which is about love and light and liberty? Why are we talking about death, dirges, and dust? I think it's because it helps us recalibrate what is important in life. I don't know about you, but it is so easy to get caught in the messages of the world, in the messages of pursuing wealth or fame or other people's affirmation or Facebook followers or who knows what, right? Let me give you examples of why I think it's important to note how all that sort of stuff is just dust. Now, because I'm horrible at pronouncing names, I brought myself a cue card. So, I'm going to play a game with you about folks who accomplished amazing, remarkable, huge things. And I want to see if you know who they are. Because my guess is pretty much no one does. Now, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. Do not worry, this is a Lutheran church. I will not call on you. Okay? So, first name I want to throw out there to you. Zing Yat So. Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? No. Okay. Mansa Musa. I have one up in the booth. Awesome. Not calling on you. And Boudica. Got 1, 2, 3. All right, some Celtic history nerds. Okay? Here's the thing. All of them have remarkable stories. Okay? Jing Yat Zhao was the greatest pirate to ever live. And by the way, she was a she. Okay, the greatest pirate that ever lived was a Chinese woman. She commanded 1,500 vessels, 80,000 sailors, defeated the Imperial Navy. Even though they were being backed up by the British and Portuguese in a war against her, she won. And then what is the most Haas move ever? She floats into the harbor, having won the war, floats into Shanghai Harbor, marches to the governor's palace and says, I hear you lost your navy recently. Would you like a new one? All you got to do is give me amnesty and make me admiral of the new Imperial Navy. What do you think? And she became the first and only head of the Imperial Navy of China who was female. Okay? Amazing story. Mansa Musa was the richest human in all of history. He was king of Mali, controlled most of what we knew as West Africa. He was so rich, he went on vacation one time to Cairo, Egypt, which of course this is the time of the pharaohs, so it's the height of the Egyptian ancient empire. He brought so much gold with him, he created inflation. He crashed the economy because everyone's like, oh, well, everyone's got gold now. I don't know what to do because this guy's literally throwing it off the top of his elephants. Because that's how wealthy he is. That's what it looked like when he went on vacation. He could crash a nation-state's economy. Boudica, late teenagers, 17, 16, maybe 18. Parents are killed. The Romans try to seize her tribal lands. She raises an army, creates this new concept called ambushing, wipes out the 9th Legion of Rome. 17-year-old. One of the most courageous acts in probably all of history. No military training, nothing. She was just determined. Sacks a number of towns across Europe. You can read the rest of her story. We have the richest person in all of history, the greatest pirate in all of history, probably one of the most courageous people in all of history. None of them more than 700 years ago. And yet, none of us even know who they are. Or maybe a few of us do. I bring that up because often the world says, oh, you should try to accomplish this. You should try to get wealth. You should try to get fame. You should try to get accolades, whatever it is. And we can get distracted with pursuing those pieces of dust that will be here today and gone tomorrow. Even it's as simple as wanting everyone to like us. What God reminds us is when we're doing this recalibrating, when we're going deep inside, as we go and start to ask ourselves the deep questions of Lent of God, what is it that I can do or give up doing that will bring me closer to you? We have to first make sure that we don't use it as an opportunity to just chase more dust. See, God has a plan and an adventure and a hope for how each and every one of you can make the world better, can have his kingdom come a little closer, a little faster. How the hungry can be fed, the poor can be helped, injustice can be overturned and made into justice, so on and so forth. It's as diverse and brilliant as you all are, as all of humanity. So take some time in your prayer life in this next week as you enter into the season of Lent to take an account of where does your time go, for it is the only resource we truly have. For all others is dust. And ask yourself, are you putting enough of it, that time, towards what God is calling you to do? Or is it getting wasted collecting dust? For we are all dust. All of this is dust. And it will once again be dust.